어찌로 말하랴 자나깨나 주의 손이 항상 살펴주시고 모든 일을 주 안에서 형통하게 하시네.
The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a global pandemic.
More than 4,700 people have died.
東京オリンピック・パラリンピックを1年程度延期することで一致しました。
휴일을 맞은 교회와 성당, 사찰 등에도 비상이 걸렸습니다.
위기 경보 수준이 심각으로 격상되면서 주일 예배를 인터넷으로만 드리는 교회가 늘고 있고
하나님 우리와 영원히 함께 하시네. 꿈없는 우리에게 은하라 보여주시네. 연약한 자들의 친구가 되어주시고 힘없는 우리의 인생을 위로하시네. 당신은 시간을 뚫고 이 땅 가운데 오셨네. 우리 없는 하늘 원치 않아 우리 삶에 오셨네. 신의 편안 버리고 우리에게 평안 주셨네. 가장 낮은 자의 모습으로 우리 삶에 오셨네. 당신은 시간을 뚫고 이 땅 가운데 오셨네. 우리 없는 하늘 원치 않아 우리 삶에 오셨네. 당신의 편안 버리고 우리에게 평안 주셨네. 가장 낮은 자의 모습으로 우리 삶에 오셨네. 하나님 우리와 영원히 함께 하시네. 꿈없는 우리에게 그 나라 보여주시네. 연약한 자들의 친구가 되어주시고 힘없는 우리의 인생을 위로하시네.
You are the master of all time, who came down to earth. It couldn't be the heaven with no others. You came into our lives. You have given up your comfort and brought peace to us. Humbled yourself before us. It's the lowest of the low. God, you are who you are, with us for now and always be. To us the dreamless, you show your kingdom for us to see. For whom our
promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle work, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
The modern world shifts us slowly from the supernatural worldview to a secular worldview. We live in a world without windows. What's real? What we can touch, taste, see, weigh, measure, calculate. Now we look in the Bible and we look down through much of history. The unseen world was not unreal. In fact, the seen world was less real than the unseen world, not only for believers, but for non-believers too. The unseen was very real. But in our modern world, it's the seen world that's real, and everything else is unreal. And slowly, there are many Christians in the West who are functional atheists. They're atheists unawares. Their worldview doesn't really include the supernatural. Now, thank God you in Korea haven't gone that way, but that will probably be the temptation of the future. The material world, prosperity, money, power, growth, all the things that are this side of the ceiling become real. And the church is strong in all of those. But slowly, it loses touch with the supernatural world. The fifth and last point. We need to make sure we have the needed tools to grapple with the modern world. Again, let me mention quickly 3. First, and very obviously, spiritual warfare. Now, as I said, I admire Korean prayer and your passion for prayer. So you're known for that worldwide, and even Koreans in the West have a much greater practice of prayer than many Western Christians. But the challenge is to keep that, because the modern secular world slowly drowns it out. And it's the secular things of this world that become more real, and so on. And so I would expect the Korean churches to face that temptation, to grow more and more materialistic, and to be concerned with their numbers and their money and all things like that, rather than spiritual power from the supernatural world. Secondly, you need the history of ideas. Many people just confront ideas as they come across their path. But we need to understand the ancestry, the family tree, where ideas come from, and then you really understand the danger of them in a profound way. I mentioned the sexual revolution. When you see where it goes back to in the French Revolution, you realize what a tremendous challenge it will be. But we need to understand the history of ideas to really engage prophetically with the ideas of our time. And the third and last thing I'll mention as a tool is cultural analysis. As I said, the danger isn't just ideas. We need to know how cars and television and radio and social media and all sorts of things affect us. For example, time. Everyone in the advanced modern world lives with what's called fast life, 24/7 pressure. Where does that come from? There's no philosopher or psychologist or social scientist behind it. It comes from clocks and watches. It's said that the clock, invented in Europe around 1300, is the most powerful tool from Europe. But of course, it was when clocks were coordinated in the 19th century. But now with atomic time, and we're living under this incredible pressure, and it leads not only to our time, but to our psychology. They tell us we're on the wrong side of history. We have the idea we've got to be relevant all the time. The latest is greatest, and so on. All of that comes from the pressure of clocks. Now, to be in the world, but not of it, we have to recognize the world, and we need the tools to be able to do so. So let me summarize this for your prayer. As you look out on the 21st century, the Christian faith is the largest faith on the earth. But in more and more parts of the advanced modern world, we're not doing well. The central issue today is faithfulness. I don't know if you know the name of the great English Christian leader, John Stott. He died a few years ago in his 90s. I visited him on his deathbed, and I was praying for him, and I asked him, he was a great friend, I said, John, how do you want me to pray for you? In a barely audible whisper, he said, pray that I may be faithful to Jesus to my last breath. Faithfulness is a challenge when things are going well. We rely on power and numbers and prosperity and efficiency and growth and all these things, which often are purely human. We need to be faithful rather than successful. Faithfulness, of course, means everything when things are not going well. And in more and more parts of the world, we Christians are the most persecuted faith on the earth. And our challenge is to be faithful to our Lord. So I would say to you with great love, God is greater than all. He can be trusted in all situations. Have faith in God. Have no fear. By God's grace, let's seize the opportunities of this century, and let's face the challenges of this century and show that in Jesus, the power of the good news, the best news ever, is greater than any challenge and opposition that we will come across. The Lord be with you. Thanks for having me.
이 산지를 주옵소서 두 번 크게 외치고 간절한 마음으로 기도하겠습니다. 주여 이 산지를 내게 주옵소서. 주여 이 산지를 내게 주옵소서. 하나님 아버지, 하나님 아버지, 주의 거룩한 종들이 마음을 다하여 기도합니다. 하나님 아버지, 하나님 아버지, 아버지여, 아버지여,
하늘에 계신 우리 아버지여, 이름이 거룩히 여김을 받으시오며 나라의 임하옵시며 뜻이 하늘에서 이룬 것 같이 땅에서도 이루어지이다. 오늘날 우리에게 일용할 양식을 주옵시고 우리가 우리에게 죄 지은 자를 사하여 준 것 같이 우리 죄를 사하여 주옵시고 우리를 시험에 들게 하지 마옵시고 다만 악에서 구하소서. 대개 나라와 권세와 영광이 아버지께 영원히 있사옵나이다. 아멘.